You may have seen headlines like these. Some people are now even suggesting that OpenAI could eventually collapse. The company that once sparked the AI revolution is now being described as a company that could run out of money. Just a few years ago, OpenAI's ChatGPT looked like a technology that could change the world. But OpenAI is still spending enormous amounts of money, and its business model remains unclear. Hundreds of millions of people now use ChatGPT around the world. Yet very few people can clearly explain how OpenAI is actually supposed to make money. So the question is simple. Is OpenAI really a profitable business? Or is it simply the most expensive bet in the world? OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, once spoke openly about the company's business model. Advertising feels like a last resort for us. If we can find a way to build a business without relying on ads, I would strongly prefer that. That statement reveals something important about OpenAI's situation. Because right now, the company's biggest challenge is not technology. It is money. According to recent reports, OpenAI is expected to lose roughly $14 billion in 2026 alone. And the reason behind these losses is not simply poor management, it is the structure of the technology itself. Unlike traditional software companies, building more powerful AI systems requires enormous amounts of computing power. For example, training GPT-4, the model that helped ignite the current AI boom, is estimated to have cost around $100 million in compute. But the problem is that this cost does not happen just once. Every new generation of AI models requires more data, more computing infrastructure, and far larger clusters of specialized chips. That means the next model is always more expensive than the last one. As a result, OpenAI continues to spend money at an extraordinary pace. Some estimates suggest the company may be burning billions of dollars every month just to operate and train its systems. In other words, OpenAI is not just competing in a technology race, it is also competing in a race that requires constant and massive financial investment. And at this point, another problem begins to emerge. OpenAI is not the only company in that race. First, there is Google. Google has introduced a new AI model called Gemini, entering direct competition with OpenAI. For years, Google has been one of the most powerful companies in artificial intelligence research. In fact, the transformer architecture, the technology behind many modern AI models, was first introduced by Google researchers. Now the company is rapidly integrating AI across its products, from search to cloud services and enterprise tools. The goal is clear. Google does not intend to surrender leadership in AI, but Google is not the only competitor. Another rapidly growing company is Anthropic. Anthropic was founded by former OpenAI researchers and has quickly become one of the most important startups in the AI industry. The company has received major investments from companies such as Google and Amazon. Its AI model, Claude, is becoming a strong competitor to ChatGPT, particularly in the enterprise market. Many companies are now using multiple AI systems instead of relying on just one. In other words, the AI market is no longer dominated by a single company. And at the same time, another shift is happening. The rise of open source AI models. Meta has released its AI model Llama as an open source project. This decision could significantly change the economics of the AI industry, because companies may no longer need to rely entirely on commercial AI providers like OpenAI. Instead, they can build and run their own models. This lowers the barrier to entering the AI market. And the competition is not only about technology, it is also about capital. Companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta are investing tens of billions of dollars into AI development, data centers, GPU infrastructure, and massive training runs for ever larger models. All of this requires enormous financial resources. In other words, the AI industry is not just a technology race, it is also a race of capital. And in this race, OpenAI is competing directly with some of the most powerful technology companies in the world. And the reality is that this competition is only beginning. But OpenAI's challenge is not only competition, there is a deeper problem: the structure of the AI industry itself. AI models are built very differently from traditional software. Most software companies hire engineers, build a product, and then sell that product repeatedly, but AI systems work in a very different way. To build more powerful AI models, companies need enormous amounts of computing power, and that computing power comes from massive data centers filled with thousands of specialized chips. In recent years, as AI technology has advanced rapidly, the demand for these data centers has grown dramatically. Some industry forecasts suggest that global spending on AI infrastructure could reach hundreds of billions of dollars over the next several years. And at the center of this infrastructure is a single piece of hardware: the GPU. Most advanced AI models today are trained using high-performance GPUs produced by NVIDIA. In particular, NVIDIA's H100 GPUs have become one of the most important components in the AI industry. Demand for these chips has surged so rapidly that supply has struggled to keep up. Many companies now face long waiting times just to secure the hardware needed to train their models. As a result, competition for AI chips has become one of the defining battles in the industry. But the challenge does not stop there. AI data centers also consume enormous amounts of electricity. Some large AI facilities require as much power as tens of thousands of homes. And as AI models continue to grow larger, the energy required to train and run them continues to rise. In some regions, concerns about electricity supply are already beginning to affect plans for building new AI data centers. For this reason, the AI industry is no longer just a software industry. And inside this system, companies like OpenAI are not just building technology. They are participating in a global infrastructure race. And that raises an important possibility. The AI business may be far more difficult than it first appeared. In recent months, some analysts have begun raising concerns about OpenAI's financial situation. The cost of training and operating advanced AI systems is rising far faster than many people expected. Some reports suggest that OpenAI could face extremely large losses over the next several years. Training AI models requires massive data centers. Those data centers require specialized chips, and those chips consume enormous amounts of electricity. All of this infrastructure costs a tremendous amount of money. Because of this, some analysts have started to question whether the current surge of investment in artificial intelligence is sustainable. Over the past few years, investment in AI has exploded. Companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta are pouring tens of billions of dollars into AI development. But some market observers have pointed out that the current wave of AI investment shows similarities to past technology bubbles. In particular, comparisons are often made to the dot-com boom of the late 1990s. At that time, enormous amounts of capital flowed into internet companies. Many believed the internet would transform the global economy. And in many ways, it did. But the boom was also followed by a dramatic collapse that wiped out many companies. Of course, most experts agree that artificial intelligence will likely become an extremely important technology in the long run. But there is still a major debate about whether AI companies can actually build profitable business models. And that leads to an important question. Will artificial intelligence become the next great technological revolution, or could it turn out to be one of the most expensive technological experiments in history? And at the center of that question stands one company, OpenAI.